The path forward for immigrants and immigration. It's hard to believe that it's been probably 45 years at least that the immigration system has been broken and nothing's been done to fix it. In the 1986, the law that they passed that year basically was a legalization. So nobody said, oh, let's fix the laws. In fact, the only thing they did is what they've been doing ever since that law is finding ways to penalize people who are forced to use the immigration system that we have. In other words, if you can't enter legally and you enter illegally, we're going to penalize you. At that time, they were penalizing employers who hired undocumented immigrants. Now they're penalizing immigrants coming at the border, applying for asylum. They're finding ways to deter entry. Instead of finding a way to bring in the workers that we need, in a humane way, welcoming them, as they did before when the immigrants were European. Now the immigrants are Latino, African, Chinese, so they're making it harder, and that's what they've been doing since the 80s. It's in many ways it's surreal because you hear people saying, why don't they enter legally? What are they doing here? They're ruining our country. When in the news every day you hear that the immigrants who are here undocumented for many years want to have the same employment authorization. Employers and businesses want these people to be able to work legally so that they can continue to help the country grow economically. Immigrants start up more businesses than anyone else. So it's sort of a very surreal reality or surreal situation because, we need immigrants. Many people want them to be here legally and work legally and help the country grow as they've been doing. But the system that Congress puts forward for political reasons doesn't have any way to let these people come here legally. The people who want to come here. If you're from Europe, there's no problem. You you grab your passport, you don't even need a visa, you come here, you find an employer, that employer sponsors you, you find a way to get back. If you're a European, there's been generations of Europeans here, you come here. If you're from Ireland, you meet a nice Irish American girl, and you get married. The generations of legal and citizen who are Latinos and Chinese and Africans is not as deep. So it's hard to see how we can use the system that exists, that's been broken. In the early 80s, I think they realized that the system was broken, and so they needed immigrants, and now they need them even more with all the baby boomers retiring. And in that time, they said, well, let's at least legalize the people who are here. And in fact, now they say, oh, well, they legalized them at that point and they continue to come illegally. Yeah, they continue to come illegally or through the border and applying for asylum because they're afraid to stay in their country for everything that's happened after COVID. The situation has gotten worse here and it's gotten worse in their country. So they continue to come, but nothing has been done to fix the system. There's no improvement in the legal immigration system, and there's only been continued penalties in the attacks on immigrants who come undocumented and as they say here, illegally, not using the laws, because those laws aren't created to help the people who want to come. And it's sad, it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is right now. And that's why we have to work on a path forward to break this trend of continuing to blame the immigrant for the system that the Congress created. And in fact, it's unbelievable. Every time they talk about fixing immigration and reforming it, they're not talking about making it that the legal immigration system can work and that it can bring the people who are coming, who want to come legally, but there's no way. There's no talk about that. It's talk about building a border wall, finding ways they're putting fences in the middle of the river. And in fact, you see the states doing illegal acts and working outside the Constitution. And that's all that's been happening. And it's unfortunate. We have to work to benefit this country by having a way that people can come legally, and stop asking that question, why don't they come legally? It's obvious. There is no way for the people who want to come now, who aren't European, for them to come legally. Because we need workers, and the system to bring in workers legally in this country is not created for the reality that exists today.